everyone. Welcome to the Entrepreneur's Playbook. I'm Brad.
I'm Ryan.
And we're with Atlas Wealth Solutions. And if you felt like us, you probably realized that there is no box for you when it comes to financial strategy or investment opportunities or investment. I'm in my own head.
Yeah, go right at it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Entrepreneur's Playbook. I'm Brad.
I'm Ryan Lee.
And we are with Atlas Wealth Solutions. And if you're like us, you've realized that there is no box when it comes to financial education or investment advice for us, the entrepreneur. Okay, you recognize that you, as an entrepreneur, are wired differently than 99% of the rest of the world. And that means the investment advice or what to do with your money also is going to be that different. Okay, but what you're about to step into right now is going to change all of that.
It's gonna literally change everything. And what we do here at Atlas Wealth Solutions, we work with people directly, unique, one-on-one, and we teach them how to build wealth in their financial, in their situation, and their strategy. And most advice out there is not just bad advice, it's the wrong advice.
And that ends up being, again, not just bad, it's destructive. Okay, it gets in the way of what makes us as entrepreneurs successful.
Yeah.
Okay?
So let's talk a little bit about what we do here at Atlas Wealth and why we do what we do in the financial realm. So for us, we like to, when we talk to people, we like to really find out what drives them individually, uniquely as an individual. And we find that a well-fulfilled life, as we talk to people, really consists of four main areas. And we're not going to go into detail what's in every area, but there's a mental area where people like to focus their efforts on their mental capabilities, reading books, engaging, learning. There's an emotional area where they like to engage in relationships. There is a spiritual area where no matter who you are, having a connection with God or source is important to people. And there's a physical area. Your body goes with you everywhere you go, and people like to spend time in their physical fitness. Now you'll notice we kind of line these up in boxes here, but there's one box in the middle. And for most people, this box is finance, right? Most people, if you really add up all the time, effort, and energy that you spend on a daily, weekly basis, I would venture to guess that the majority of it is spent on in the pursuit of money. And here's the thing, we put money on the top of this, and if I were to come to you and say, okay, look, I'm going to alleviate and solve the problem of money in your life at the expense of one of the other areas. So if I give you all the money that you need, what area would you give up? Would you lose your health? Would you give up your relationship with God, your family, right? Would you lose your mental capabilities? And when we look at it that way, of course, no one would do that. No one's going to trade money for one of the things that's really important to them, but yet we do this every day.
We find that, if you think about what you spend the most amount of time worrying about, stressing about, engaging in, pouring your energy into, it is this box of money. And almost everybody, and us as entrepreneurs, there's a quote out there, I don't remember who said it, I think it was the lady on Shark Tank, who says entrepreneurs are the only people in the world willing to work 80 hours to avoid having to work 40. Okay, so we as entrepreneurs definitely fall into this trap and it's not necessarily that we're pursuing money, but it's in the pursuit of building a business and trying to find success. Even if we're telling ourselves it's so that we can have better mental, emotional, spiritual, physical, what happens is this box begins to expand. The time, energy, and effort required to do that expands and encroaches on our ability to enjoy the rest. I can't tell you how many entrepreneurs I know have let their bodies just fall apart on them, or their relationships fall apart on them, or literally lose their mental health or their spiritual connection in pursuit and the drive of building a business.
You got it. And don't get me wrong, building a business fulfills us as entrepreneurs. For many times it's an expression of who we really are and what we value in the world. But what we do here at Atlas is our goal is to kind of help people shift over to the right side here. We're not life coaches, so we're not going to come in and teach you how to have a better physical body or have a better connection with God. But what we will help you do is we will remove this thorn, this obstacle for so many people, and really show you how to create a financial plan, especially uniquely designed for entrepreneurs, that is automated. And in the rest of this webinar series that you're going to watch, we're going to talk to you about how exactly to do that and why it is so important for entrepreneurs that you don't follow the financial advice that is given to the rest of the world. And it's not about doing what everyone else is doing better. It's about doing the exact opposite.
That is a huge point. This is not taking other strategies and tweaking them and making them better. This is a brand new, uniquely designed approach for you as an entrepreneur. Okay?
Now, I want you to ask yourself this question, right? If we can remove the stress that you might feel around money, now you're left with these 4 boxes unencumbered. And in the middle, we like to draw a circle here where we talk about what now replaces the pursuit of money. And when we can do this for people, your why, your unique expression of what it is you're doing and why you're doing it, now becomes your purpose. And I want to tell you this with a little story for me. For me, I grew up as a very, ingrained in me, you go to school, you get a job, and you take care of your family. And so that's exactly what I did. I did a lot of entrepreneurial stuff before graduating college, but then as soon as I graduated college, I went right to the corporate world. And I worked and I worked and I worked, and every paycheck I got, I was disappointed. And so I worked a little bit harder, and every time I worked a little bit harder, these 4 areas of my life suffered. I traveled more, I saw my family less, my connection with God diminished, my health diminished, and I worked harder and harder and harder. And for me, it all came crashing down. About 6 years ago, I was away from my family, and I got a call that changed my life. My wife called me and told me that my oldest son was going to have an emergency heart surgery. And at that point, going back to what I trade money for a connection with my family, I realized that is what I had done up to that point. And from that point on, I was resolved to figure out a way to not give up anything else, but to figure out a way to have a life where I was more connected with my why, what I was really working for. And so much of it came to having a financial plan that was centered on having things work automatically.
And Ryan, I'm glad you shared that story, because I too went through a very similar realization of what I was after and what it was costing me. So I got my start. I got master's degrees. I went through the very same route, tried to position myself to be successful within the employee world. And I was working on Wall Street in downtown New York when the financial collapse of 2008 hit. And I still remember the morning I walked to work, and the building I worked in was next door to Lehman Brothers. And it was the day Lehman Brothers collapsed. And as I was walking past, there were lines of people walking out of the Lehman building with cardboard boxes in their hands. So I ran to my building and sat in the lobby for the next week, staring at at the TV screens, wondering, were we going to be next? What was going to happen to me? And I was sitting next to people that had been there like me a short period of time, people that had been there 3 years, 5 years, 20 years, and we were all just as concerned. And I realized that there is no such thing as a safe and secure job. So I did what you might have done, or what I thought was reasonable for anybody in that situation to do, which was to take control. And I thought my path was entrepreneurship. So I jumped in, leveraged my contacts, used my accounting degree, and started a consulting firm. And in a very short period of time, it took off and was very successful. And I thought, okay, this is it, I got it. Until I had a realization. I was working one night at 2 in the morning, trying to get through and meet a deadline for a client. And as I finished up, I looked out the window at the blackness and thought, this had been a week straight of working till 2 or 3 in the morning trying to get this done. And I realized that although I was making money, I was successful, I was doing more than I had ever imagined with this box of money, I started to realize at what cost. And I didn't own my company owned me. And that was the point that I realized that it wasn't about making money. It was about time. Financial independence, financial security, everything that we're seeking for is not a bigger bank account. It's not better toys or a bigger house. It's about time to pursue the things that really matter to us. So that we've identified for us, that was the pain. The pain was the pursuit of building was costing us too much. And our solution, the possibility that we're offering through the Entrepreneur's Playbook, is to automate the money process and structure that so that what you are building works and serves you. The money and capital that you're accumulating, you are not slave to it, but through an automated, secure process, it works for you. So please continue through, join us on the inside, jump into the first video, and we're going to show you how all of this is possible.